Hello guys, welcome to part 2 of Do It Yourself Harley. And what we're going to do today is we're going to go ahead and we're going to pull off this rocker box. As you can tell, I pulled this one off yesterday and had quite a bit of carbon buildup, let's put it that way. And I don't know what that's from sitting, things like that, but there was quite a bit of it. I mean, I'm not talking a little bit, there was a lot. And that's usually, most of the time, it's usually caused by running it rich. But this has got some markings on the top of the piston, which lets me know that it's been bored over 20 thousandths. It's been bored over 20 thousandths because it says 020 on it. And usually that'll be on the top, or somebody will stamp it in, or manufacturer. So that's always a good thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and pull this off right here. And of course got to undo the bolts naturally. I already loosened that one up because that one was a pain in the ass. Go ahead and get all these loosened up. I like loosening them up first with a regular wrench here, and then I'll take a socket wrench to it and loosen them up after that. It's typically good practice. You can do it however you want. And I believe this is a half inch. Yeah, it's a half inch. I'm going to actually replace all these bolts with brand new ones from my local hardware store. That way they're all matching and nice and pretty and all that good stuff. Pull all these out. And hopefully, just maybe, this one might have the same amount of carbon buildup, and I'll give you guys an idea of what I was experiencing yesterday when I took the first jug off, or head off I should say. It was bad, and I was like, I ain't never seen nothing like that before myself. So apparently this is, when it was rebuilt at one point in time, they had to either run it too rich or something of that nature. So, bad spark plugs, incomplete fuel burn, things like that. Eventually it'll just keep caking and keep caking and keep caking. Eventually it can, your valves can get stuck essentially open, or they'll start banging up against the pistons, or the carbon buildup on the pistons, which can be bad. Probably need a little flat tip screwdriver to get this thing loose, just maybe. Give it a little, nope, didn't have to do that. So looking in here, looks like we're halfway okay. It's not nothing major, no worn down. The cam lobes right here, they're not worn, so that's pretty good. Apparently these might have been replaced at one point in time. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and remove the head now. So our breaker bar. Okay. Break all these loose. This is a 7/16 deep well socket, 12 point. Whew. It's tough. This one's in here real good. And by the way, just for future reference, these are about 65 foot-pounds of torque that you have to apply to put these back on. Now, I'll probably go in about 70-75 because it'll be a little bit colder outside when I put the bike back together. And it always is good to have a torque wrench. Now, I do know guys that can do it by just feel. And of course, but they've been doing it a hell of a lot longer than me. Damn. Try not to knock the damn bike over and the camera and everything else. Get these things loose here. Point where we can just unscrew it. Yeah, there we go. Okay, one. And another good thing is to put, because usually they're steel bolts or something like that inside of an aluminum or cast head. Typically putting NICs, it's what they call NICs compound, and that'll help prevent the seizing and the rusting and things like that. Typically, if I do drive a bike a lot, I'll rebuild it every 3 years or so, and it's fun and enjoyable. So, sorry about the wind, guys, if you guys hear all that wind, but today the wind has decided it wanted to blow. Couldn't get no wind yesterday when it was 80 degrees outside. Yeah, that's usually how it works. So hopefully you guys will get to see some of this carbon buildup that I was talking about on this. But I literally had to clean that damn the head up, and had to grind. Well, I wouldn't say grind. I had to take a screwdriver, some sandpaper, and I got a wire wheel that I literally had to go in there and get the carbon buildup off of the valves and everything else, which is kind of ridiculous. So we're gonna go ahead and let's get something in here enough to break it loose. Be careful with it. Oop, there we go. Just little taps, a few love taps, and it should come off. Okay, so this one looks a lot better. Not very much buildup on there compared to the rear one. This one's actually in pretty decent shape. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to roll this around here and let y'all get a look here. Okay, so what we've got going on is, as you can tell, there's still quite a bit of carbon buildup on there, which is still kind of ridiculous, the amount. Roll all the way to the top here. And that's the importance of keeping the back wheel on. Makes things a hell of a gracious amount easier. And fifth gear also works out real good too. Okay, so we're pretty much all the way at the top, but you see how much caked, like that's probably a couple millimeters worth of carbon buildup on there, which could be a pretty bad situation. So we got some basic tools. We got our little wire brush, flat tip screwdriver, and considering that we're just going to be replacing these gaskets and stuff anyways, probably be all right. Now see, we have a problem with this gasket. Apparently it was leaking past and it was allowing stuff to bypass. Some oil to bypass out over here. Now, I don't know what exactly that's from. Hopefully that's not a head crack or anything like that, but we'll find out when we take that apart. I want to say it was over here in this particular area that it was allowing it to get out some way, shape, or fashion. Of course, for being 40 years old, you're going to have shit like that. So what we're going to do is we're just going to hit a few licks on this, and while leave the jugs themselves on. It doesn't matter if it gets down in these holes here, because you're going to be tipping it over, blowing them out, cleaning them out, things like that before you ever. The only thing you don't want to do is get it down in these little ports here. I'm not too worried about it. If it does, it'll break up. It's not necessarily going to hurt a damn thing. But we're going to scrape some of this off. Like I said, we got quite a bit. Well, not as bad as the last one. Let's put it that way. So, but like I said, this is a result of too much fuel being thrown in there where it wasn't properly tuned from the beginning. Most likely. Bad spark plugs, stuff like that. Found out spark plugs a long time ago. Now, I did run some seafoam through this thing and done the seafoam procedures and stuff like that, so this probably actually could have been a lot worse. Or it probably was a lot worse at one point in time. Let's just brush it off here real good. This is my welder's brush, or welder wiring brush. You can buy these at your local Napa's and things like that too, if you choose Napa. I like Napa myself. Just continue to scrape this off. And then what we'll do is when we get the majority of the chunks that have formed on here off, we'll get the wire wheel out. Hopefully my hat's not blocking anything here. Damn allergies. Every winter I get these allergy issues going on here, so sorry about the sniffling too. We'll get all the majority of this out, and then I'll show you basically what to do with the wire wheel brush. Makes things a lot easier too. Any residual dust here that you decided it wanted to blow over here. We'll get these relatively good and clean. Yeah. So now we'll break out the wire wheel. Might be a little loud. Oh yeah, this side's got a little bit more than I thought it would. Reach across here. Get some of this shit out of here. Yeah, we had some good stuff there. It's gonna be a little loud, so. And there you go. Now you have a perfectly clean piston. And I don't know if you guys can see that, but right there's a number that says 020 on it. So that's a pretty good deal there. We got both pistons have been bored over, or both cylinders have been bored over 120 thousandths, which is great. that's pretty good shape. That's good too. So let's see. And of course, what I did I'm gonna have to move this camera around here, give you guys an idea. Bought me a tripod to be able to better help me show things. So, still getting used to it. Gotta figure out how to do all this maneuvering. Probably gonna have to get a microphone system eventually. Okay, so this camera focuses in real good. We got, like I said, we got a pretty decent amount in here too, and this is kind of like just like a port polishing kind of deal. And that little wire wheel there gets perfectly into here, and it'll clean up every. Look at this. Basically, you want this one to be, and I already did my rear head, so I'll show you this one. And you want it to be just like that. Like I said, there was an amount of carbon deposits built up on this thing that was real bad up in here, real bad. It was formed. I don't even know how these valves were opening. It's amazing how these valves did not get bent with how much carbon buildup there was on there. But now they're good and clean, of course, and no issues, so I'm kind of glad about that. So basically, you just want to polish your head up on that side the same way with your wire wheel and all that good stuff. But pretty much we've got both heads off. In the next episode, I'm going to show you how to pull the jugs off properly, and having a good ring expander or ring compressor when you're going to put these back on. And there's no need to replace the rings. There's really not, especially on this particular bike. There's not a very lot of play and movement in here. Apparently they got these really tight, and you can roll the cylinders down, run your finger inside, and you can see that there's no score marks, nothing, which makes it even better. That lets me know there that they did it pretty tight tolerances, which is, like I said, another good thing. So I can see that there's oil that is kind of deposited a little bit on the cylinder walls there. That's a good sign that the oil is getting where it's probably supposed to be, and it did have oil in the crankcase, so apparently everything's functioning correctly. And like I said, which is always a good thing. But typically you want to check down in here. We can run your fingers by. If you feel any grooves or anything like that, then you probably got some slop in your pistons. If you grab that and you can feel the piston moving around a lot, you can get an oversized rings if you need to. And it's not recommended, but you know, you could always go up a piston size too, like 10 thousandths, something like that. It's a very small, minute amount. There's a lot of other things you can do too, but I wouldn't recommend doing any of that. You can get a cylinder honer and hone it out enough to where you can put 10 thousandths in there, 10,000 piston, 10,000 rings. You can get the oversized rings, 10,000 rings. That'll solve that slop problem. I mean, you're talking a very minor amount. But if your pistons move a lot, you got a lot of slop and play inside there, then chances are you're going to need some rings. Now I know some of you are going to go, well, it's best since you got it open, go ahead and place the rings and things like that. Yeah, it's true. You know, if you want to, go for it. I'm not particularly going to do that unless I see something bad, like one of my rings is cracked or something falling apart or anything like that. I'll just use a ring compressor, compress it back. I'll make sure my compression rings and all are opposite hand of each other and all that good stuff, and I'll put it back together. Like I said, if that's the way you want to do it, then do it that way. That's cool with me. You know, like I said, everybody has their own particular ways of doing everything, But this is just my particular way that I'm going to do this particular bike because it doesn't have a lot of slop. And then, okay, so in my next video, like I said, I'm probably going to pull these jugs off, and or cylinders, whatever you choose to call them. And we're going to take a peek. I'm going to remove the starter itself, show you some tricks about that. Later on when putting it back together, because there is a, I guess what they call it, a thrust washer, or a throw out washer, or whatever you particularly choose to call it. Just a washer on the end, and how to get that to stay without falling down on your crankcase and all that good stuff. But yeah, so far guys, it's looking really good. Right here, there's, of course, it's always naturally a carbon lip, which forms, and I'll take the wire wheel, go around inside there. That'll get rid of that carbon lip, and that'll pretty much solve that problem. Also another good thing to have is carbon choke cleaner. And as you're going along, spray some carbon choke cleaner on the parts and stuff. It doesn't matter if it gets down in the crankcase, because you're going to put new fresh oil in there, and it doesn't hurt much. It doesn't hurt, well, I shouldn't say much, but it doesn't hurt anything, considering you're going to probably drain it out again, most likely. For me, I like to pour a thing of a couple quarts of diesel fuel, or maybe a quart of diesel fuel down in it, and let it sit, and then I'll drain it out again, and I'll do that a couple times to make sure I get all the metal contaminants out, if there is any at all, which when I pulled my drain plug out, there wasn't no metal contaminants on the magnetic pickup part, which is a really good thing. So like I said, this motor's in great shape for being 40 years old. But yeah, and then another video, we'll pull off the side case, and then we'll pull off the primary, and we'll check the clutch out. I am going to have to put a double nut on the clutch part there. When the guy put it back together, he didn't apparently do that. And like I said, we'll start to break down the other parts of the bike, get the motor off, and then get it over to a painting table, because we're going to paint the cylinders, or jugs, whatever you prefer to call them. And I'm debating whether I want to do them like in a silver, or do I want to keep a nice black, which I'll probably keep it black most likely. But we're going to paint quite a bit of this bike. But with that, guys, this is of course do-it-yourself Harley, and for all you do-it-yourself enthusiasts, you know, hopefully these videos are helping you out a little bit when you go to do your old school Harley Davidson sportster motor. Like I said, this is a 1977 Ironhead, and like I said, anybody can do this stuff. Anybody. It's too easy. Harley definitely made it nice, you know, for the do-it-yourself enthusiast. So with that, guys, I'll see you in the next video, hopefully here in the next couple of days or so, maybe the next couple of hours, depending on what I feel like doing. So with that, I'll see you guys later.